August is the month when many of our nests turn empty as American kids go off to college for the first time. Most incoming freshmen are filled with excitement and high hopes and at least a little bit of anxiety about making new friends, while their parents feel a mix of sadness and joy that's always a part of these great transitional moments. And, of course, the parents feel a great deal of anxiety about how to pay for college. But some kids have worries that most of us never experience. What is it like to go off to Harvard and worry that your mother might not be able to make it economically if you don't stay home and go to a local college and get a job to help her out? How does it feel when you're at the airport going off to Yale and your eyes fill with tears because you can't find the words to thank your single mother for everything she did to make this happen since the day she gave birth to you at age 15? Both of those stories were told in yesterday's New York Times by Justin Porter, who will soon be a sophomore at Harvard, and Travis Reginald, who will soon be a sophomore at Yale. They are important stories on many, many levels, including helping us understand the troubling finding in a recent study showing that most low-income students who have top SAT scores do not apply to America's top colleges, while 78% of students with similar test scores and higher incomes apply and get accepted at those colleges. Joining me now, Yale sophomore Travis Reginald, the son of Nikki Reginald, and Harvard sophomore Justin Porter, the son of Sarah Perkins. Justin, I want to read a line from your article yesterday in the Times where you said you were born and raised 1,500 miles away from Harvard in a small apartment in Jackson, Mississippi, with your mother, and it was just the two of you. What was it like to have to say goodbye to her and go that far away to college?
It was excruciating in some regards, just because it was a very I felt very torn, you know, like there's obviously like the immense opportunity that was ahead, but like my mom never likes to let me know like her emotions, you know, how she's feeling about letting me go. But she had this kind of absent stare in her eyes as she saw me walking off, you know. Like I started taking off my shoes, putting them in the bin for like, you know, to get on the plane. And then I just broke down. Because I mean, I realized that I can't come home for the weekend. I can't check in to see how she's doing. I can't physically be there. So it was definitely a difficult decision. One that I ruminated over for the entire course of the year, really. In a nutshell.
Travis, talk about just how distant these kinds of schools felt for you guys, both high school classmates together in Mississippi. And you wrote about how there just isn't information out there easily available to you about what top scorers and top students like you can really think about seriously about college. How did you come to realize that you had a real shot at schools like Harvard and Yale?
Well, for me, I kind of count myself as sort of unusual when it comes to thinking about colleges. It actually goes back to preschool. You know, my mother very young when she had me. And for some strange reason, I still don't know to this day, I apparently got in trouble with the teacher. My mother came up there and, you know, she was crying because she didn't know what to do. And that day forward, you know, my whole outlook was that, you know, I wasn't going to make her cry, that, you know, I was going to do like whatever it took to make her proud. And somewhere in elementary school, maybe from a movie, you know, the name drop, you know, schools like Harvard and Yale, how just like almost like the epitome of the American dream. And as a kid, I was like in such awe, that if I can work hard, I could possibly get there. So for me, it's kind of quite different. But like, for me in elementary school, I kind of knew that in my mind, success was like getting to Ivy League school. But it didn't come like more tangible until high school. As I kind of mentioned in my article, when I did a program called Dartmouth Bound for my senior year in high school, where they fly out students just to check out the campus, get a feel of what like an Ivy League school is like, and it was wonderful. It was the first time I got on the plane, and it was breathtaking. That the staff, like the administration, can see me there. It really meant a lot. So they really made it tangible for me. And all the various letters I got from different universities saying that that's some intangible thing that I have will lead me to be successful with their schools. So they're very beneficial.
Justin, you talked about in your piece this remarkable moment where you got early acceptance to Harvard in December, and then at that night, after all the celebrating, you started to cry uncontrollably because you worried about what it would mean for your mother, and in the last few weeks of high school it was especially difficult for you. I want to read a section of what you wrote about that. You said, "The guilt was invasive. Beneath my smile, shame dominated my thoughts. I spent the last few weeks of my senior year worried sick that if I left, she would not have enough to eat, a safe place to live, loving company to listen to her stories. I decided to defer my acceptance. She would hear nothing of it. Your acceptance into Harvard is one of the shining accomplishments of my life," she said, "and I'll be damned if I see you give it away." That's a determined mother who had. It was very clear to her what she wanted, wasn't it?
It definitely was. Her tone definitely made that very clear to me. It's interesting. We jump over these hoops in high school. We take the required classes, we take the standardized tests, and they kind of put us on a trajectory. And my entire question, what I was grappling was my trajectory going in a direction that was opposite of that of the people who I love and have been around for my entire life. It was me going full steam ahead on one other side, and I couldn't help but look in the mirror and think about what are the counterfactuals, what are the possibilities that I'm excluding myself from and the people that I love from. But I don't regret it, and I don't think my mom regrets it at all, because I can. Every time she hears about me, or she just reads my acceptance letter, her smile, or I hear her telling one of her friends on the phone late at night in a whispered voice so I don't hear it, bragging incessantly or something like that. It reminds me that it's all worth it, and that's kind of what keeps me going, really.
Justin, quickly before we go, has your mother had a chance to visit you at Harvard?
She has not, unfortunately.
And
She's
Travis, has your mother had a chance to visit you at Yale?
Not at all. Same story as Justin. Just the photos.
Well, listen, we're going to make sure that your moms can visit you at college. So you just let us know when they want to do it and when the schedule works, and we'll make sure that that's easy for them to do, okay?
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, Justin Porter and Travis Reginald, great guys. Thank you very much for joining me. And Travis, there's more for you in a very special rewrite. Travis will show us a better way of saying thank you and a better way of saying I love you, because sometimes there are better ways to say those things, but only a poet can do that. Travis Reginald's beautiful poetry is next in the rewrite.